But at least you have a room of your own, which is more than I can say, said Yuri, when he called round in the evening. At least you live among civilized human beings, even if they are all poor students, said Albert. Yuri is one of his friends. They are not all civilized, Yuri replied. Did you not hear that one of them was killed last week in a duel? In a duel means in a fight. And what happens to the one who killed him? Nothing, of course. He's even proud of it. His only worry is that the authorities have told him not to fight any more duels. Duels are fight. He's upset about this because he hasn't had a single scar on his face to wear for the rest of his life as a badge of honor. Ugh, exclaimed Albert. And these are the students. Well, you will be a student one day, said Yuri. I doubt, said Albert glumly. What do you mean by glumly? Sadly. I don't think I will ever pass the exams for the school diploma. He told his cousin Elsa the same next time she came to Munich. Normally, she lived in Berlin, where her father had a business. I am sure you could learn enough to pass the exams, Albert, if you tried, she said. I know lots of boys who are much more stupid than you are who get through. They say you don't have to know anything, you don't have to understand what you are taught, just be able to repeat it in the exams. So, see, his cousin Elsa is trying to tell her that there is nothing much to pass the exams. It's just that you have to know everything and you just have to repeat that in the exams. That's the whole trouble, said Albert. I'm no good at learning things by heart. You don't need to be good at it. Anyone can learn like a parrot. You just don't try, and yet I always see you with a book under your arm, added Elsa. What is the one you are reading? A book on geology. Geology? Rocks and things? Do you learn that? So she's asking Albert that what are you reading these days? So he says that I'm reading a book on geology. So she says geology, rocks and things. Do you learn that? No, we have hardly any science at school. Then why are you studying it? Because I like it. Isn't that a good enough reason? Elsa sighed. She took a deep breath. Sighed means she took a deep breath. You are right, of course, Albert, she said. But it won't help with your diploma. She says that it's okay that you're reading geology book, but it is not going to help you pass the diploma. Apart from books on science, his only comfort was music, and he played his violin regularly until his landlady asked him to stop. Now, what was the main interest of Albert Einstein? Main interest was science and then music, and he used to play violin regularly until his landlady asked him to stop. That's that wailing, complaining gets on my nerves, she said. There's enough noise in this house, with all the kids howling. Howling means crying. So wailing means complaining. She says that this type of complaining gets onto my nerves. It upsets me. And there's enough noise in this house with all the kids howling. Howling means crying or crying. Albert was tempted to point out that most of the time it was she who made them howl, but he decided it was better to say nothing. I must get away from here, he told Yuri after 6 months alone in Munich. It is absurd. Absurd means strange. That I should go on like this. In the end, it will turn out I have been wasting my father's money and everyone's time. It will be better for all if I stop now. So, after 6 months, he was so sick of his school and the system that he told Yuri that I want to get out of this because, according to me, I'm just wasting my father's money and I'm wasting everyone's time. So, I should stop right here. And then what will you do? Yuri asked. I don't know. if I go to Milan, I'm afraid my father will send me back. So he says that I really don't know, Albert says, that what I'm going to do, because if I'm going to go back to Milan, from Milan he had come to Munich to study, my father will send me back. Unless his eyes gleamed with a sudden idea. Gleam means shined with a sudden idea. Yuri, do you know any friendly doctors? So he asked that Yuri, do you know any doctors who are your friends? I know a lot of medical students and some of them are friendly, said Yuri. Doctor? No, I have never had enough money to go to one. Why? Suppose, said Albert, that I had a nervous breakdown. Suppose a doctor would say, it's bad for me to go to school and I need to get right away from it. So he had an idea that if a doctor prescribes me and tells me that you have a nervous breakdown and that it's and if he would say that it's bad for me to go to school and I need to get right away from here, then I think that will be a good idea and I can leave the school. I can't imagine a doctor saying that, said Yuri. I must try, said Albert, to find a doctor who specializes in nerves. There are plenty of them, Yuri told him. He hesitated for a moment and then added rather reluctantly. So he says there are plenty of them, but Yuri told him, but he hesitated. He was very reluctant to at that moment and then added rather reluctantly, means hesitatingly, I will ask some of the students if they know one, if you like. Will you? Oh, thank you, Yuri. Albert's eyes were shining. Wait a moment, I haven't found one yet. Oh, but you will. And if I do, I don't know if he will be willing to help you. He says that even if I find a doctor, I don't know whether he will be willing to help you. He will, declared Albert. I am going to have a real nervous breakdown to make it easier for him. He laughed merrily. I have never seen you looking less nervous, remarked Yuri. A day or two at school will soon put the right, Albert assured him. Certainly he had lost his high spirits when Yuri saw him next. I can't stand it any longer, he said. I really shall have a nervous breakdown that will satisfy any doctor. Keep it up then, said Yuri. I found a doctor for you. You have? Albert's face lit up. Oh, good. When can I see him? I have an appointment for you for tomorrow evening, Yuri said. Here's the address. He handed Albert a piece of paper. Dr. Ernest Weil. What is the name of the doctor to which Albert Einstein is planning to go? Is he a specialist in nervous troubles? Asked Albert. Not exactly, Yuri admitted. As a matter of fact, he only qualified as a doctor last week. You may even be his first patient. You knew him as a student then. I've known Ernest for years. Yuri hesitated for a few moments. He's not a fool, he warned Albert. What do you mean? Don't try to pull the wool over his eyes, that's all. Be frank with him, but don't pretend you have got what you haven't. Not that you deceive anyone, means you will cheat anyone, Yuri added. You are the world's worst liar. Albert spent the next day wondering what to tell the doctor. When the time arrived for his appointment, he had worried over it so much that he really was quite nervous. So Yuri fixes his appointment with this Dr. Ernest Weil, but he very frankly tells him that don't be smart, don't pretend in front of him, but tell him the truth because he's not a fool. So Albert Einstein, he was wondering what he's going to tell the doctor, and he thought about it so much and worried about it so much that he was really quite nervous.